is absolutely wild as Verne Gagne's all-star wrestling goes coast to coast and continent to continent. The greatest wrestlers in the world.
He may be an apprentice carpenter, but I guarantee you he is a seasoned ring veteran.
I've been hit with bar stools, bar rags, barmaids.
I'm talking to you.
They're scared that Hulkamania's still running wild. Oh, yeah. I got a big fat wife and 9 kids at home, and I gotta feed them.
And take a look at Jesse the Body in real life.
Open your hand once if you would.
You want to see it?
This is absolutely unbelievable. Totally, completely out of control.
He's coming in over the top. Hey! Look out!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Chris Tubbs. I usually do this little gimmick here with the AWA Unleashed podcast. The gimmick is also the preeminent #1 podcast dedicated to the American Wrestling Association. We love it. We enjoy it. We think it's the best territory in the history of the business. But here's Polish Joe. Here's Slick Mick. And right away, guys, no bullshit. No sitting here and plugging. It's Slick Mick's picks with a couple of dicks. And scene.
So just want to say I have not started the Richard conversation this week. And for those whose feathers I ruffled.
It's a phallicy. Fallacy? Phallicy?
It's a phallicy, yeah.
It's a phallicy.
So, hey, let's talk wrestling.
Yeah, let's talk wrestling because there's not enough wieners and Richards in wrestling.
That's right. Speaking of dicks, let's talk about the wrestling business.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Great show. Great show. I love doing this show with you guys. I do. It's probably one of the best hours of my week, and I know that people enjoy it. And hey, listen, this is just. If I'm sorry if people are, upset by some of the things that we say, but we've been doing this for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we need to change the format? Do we need to?
If you don't know us by now, you know what I'm saying?
Is that the first time you've sung? I think it is. Oh, give us how would Wally sing that? How would Wally sing that?
God.
Wally karaoke.
If you don't know us by now, you'll never know us. Somehow.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Let's see who we can offend.
Oh, to go along with the dicks that we've got here, we do have picks. It's a Slick Mix picks. This is one of the best YouTube shows that we have. And even even if you're listening and you're not watching, I mean, you can get the stories. You can kind of imagine things. So we're ready for that. We're gonna have some fun. Hey, I do want to tell you guys. I'm gonna bring up the graphic here in just a minute. We've been working on some really cool pinfall membership things. And if you guys are not pinfall members, you have to join us for $4.99 a month. I'm telling you, we have got some cool things coming up. $4.99 a month, you get access to the podcast a day early. You get exclusive monthly watch-alongs, Mystery Science Theater 3000 times wrestling. You get the Back to Ringside with Mick and myself, which we enjoy. It's just like an hour a week, just talking the current stuff. Personalized thank you letter with the magnet and a sticker, and 5 photos from Slick Mix Picks collection. Just to kind of tell you guys what we've got coming up. If you guys are big NWO fans and you really want to get a behind the scenes, my friend Mark Raimondi from ESPN just wrote a book about the NWO called Say Hello to the Bad Guys. It is a #1 seller already. And it's got Hall, Nash, and Hogan on the front. We're going to get Eric on. And of course, we've heard Eric's versions of it, but this is a different, you're going to hear about the NWO in a way that you haven't heard before. So that's coming up, and along with Maven. Maven also coming up, but we might put him on a regular show. I don't know, but we've got some really cool things coming up, you guys, for a pinfall. Highly suggest for $5 a month. Very much suggest that you guys kind of join us there, because it's money well worth it. Everybody that has done it, guys, has said that it's the best $5 in podcasting value, and that's saying something considering the plethora of podcasts, and especially wrestling podcasts.
Absolutely, you couldn't have said it better. And we make jokes about it, but seriously, think of that low dollar amount. I mean, it is an absolute gift, for $4.99 a month. We enjoy doing it. People enjoy watching it, and nice job, Tubbsy.
From what I understand, $4.99, or let's just say $5, that's less than a beer going to a bar. From what I understand, I don't know, but from what I've been told, it's cheaper than one beer.
Yeah, you're not Polish, Joe. You're sober, Joe.
At the moment.
Give him a minute.
Wait till Iowa and Hutchison. I have no choice but to get to a .01.
That's get to a point of pure inebriation.
Okay.
See, that was my singing from a Willy Wonka and the Charlie Chocolate Factory, because that's the reason I'm not going to be going down to Iowa this year, is because my daughter. By the way, Mick, you're a little blurry here.
Always.
Maybe we're drunk. No, my daughter. Full disclosure, you guys. The reason that I'm not going down there is because my daughter got a role in a local children's theater with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and she is Willy Wonka and the understudy for that as well. And that is Thursday, July 17th is her big performance, and I'm not missing that. I'm not going to miss that. So
can't you take the private CCO jet there and back?
You done it.
Yeah, can't you take the corporate puddle jumper and
Yeah, WCCO radio in a corporate jet. Oh, you're
hey, you had to try.
Yeah, well, okay. All right.
Here we go.
Slick Mix picks. Let's go to number one. So this is what we're going to do. Joe, you're going to go ahead. I'm going to bring up the picture. You're going to introduce it. You and Mick are going to kind of do your thing, and then I'll pop in if I have questions.
I'll do my best. There's some that I'm just going to have to defer to Mick on, just in case I may not know, but let's do it.
All righty.
This is going to be you guys in Iowa. I know it.
So that's Maureen Vachon on the right. I'm not sure who that is on the left.
Hey, that was great. That was absolutely great. That is, you can't say the Mad Dog didn't have a sense of humor. That is a Mad Dog Vachon up in Canada, and I forget this gentleman's name. Kind of an oddball.
He's looking like more like a bitch, isn't he?
Good thing he's not around for you to tell that to his face.
Oh,
but the guy next to him, I forget his name. It's he's a disc jockey, I believe, up there. Larry Pudding or Joe Rice-A-Roni or whatever. I forget. But Mad Dog Vachon, look at the dog there. Honest to God. And this is the guy that's was going to put Jerry Blackwell in a pine box. You really can't mesh the two together, but I just love that shot. I love these kind of candid shots of the boys just having a good time.
What I love about this picture, fans know Mad Dog, the rabid, rabies-driven in-ring personality. But in this photo, this is what Maurice Vachon was really like. He was funny as hell, loved to have fun. But as we've said before, you didn't want to upset this dog, whether it's in the ring or real life.
I think. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just going to say it just. You talk about the candid shots, just to be able to be goofy and be silly and be yourself. Like these behind the scenes shots are just really cool because that's something that you would not have imagined. Imagine that getting out when Mad Dog is still alive. I mean, you could just imagine how I couldn't even imagine the reaction he would have if he knew that was out.
You know what? I love what Joe said, and this is going to be a new thing for me. Rabies driven. Oh, that's great.
The question that I have about that photo though was, what was Mad Dog trolling Crusher and pretending to be the next Wanda?
Could very well have been, and as I'm looking at this guy, Chupik, that looks a little bit like you.
No, my boobs would be bigger.
Not,
They're not quite as protruding at the S in the
Mad Dog's got a pair too.
Oh God.
Yeah, we go from phallic to boobs.
You know
We
what?
cover everything on this
I
podcast.
guarantee you that's the first time in the history of wrestling that anybody has referenced Mad Dog Vachon's boobs. You crossed another threshold, pal.
Yeah, only the big nipple could do that.
That's exactly. All right,
We're made to be broken.
Joe, you know all about this.
Yes.
Chris, that is a photograph. You're wondering what's Slick doing, putting up a picture of a house. That was the Verne Gagne home on Lake Minnetonka in Excelsior, Minnesota, way back when Verne was still living there. What
Wow.
a gorgeous house. And again, it's right on the lake. Verne was doing quite well in his time, obviously. And the reason I put that up, there's such a sad story about this, Joe. Why don't you pick it up at this point?
Well, the house was, as you mentioned, on Lake Minnetonka, but it had Verne's land it was like on a bay. So it's not, you got neighbor here, neighbor there right away. I mean, he had a prime real estate spot. And then at some point in the 80s, I'm not sure when it started, but the state of Minnesota decided that they wanted Verne's property to be part of, I don't know if it was a DNR or some type of something for the state of Minnesota. So Verne had a very long and very heated and very expensive legal battle that sadly he ended up losing.
Yeah.
That was not the cause of the downfall of the AWA. Verne was either going to spend flush his money down the toilet, investing it back into the AWA, which maybe would have made it last a little longer. But the money got put towards that. But here's the part that really pisses me off and that makes me sad is that, so this would have been late 80s, I think, when the judgment came down. Fast forward, and the state ended up they used the land for a while, but then they ended up, I believe, selling it, and it's a private property again.
Isn't that something?
And it's like, Who did Verne piss off in government to get that fucked over? Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, this piece of real estate, this house, absolutely stunning and gorgeous. Verne had stained glass windows made, and it was one of them was of Verne with the championship belt. I mean, it was a fully customized, spectacularly built. It wasn't a house. It was an estate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for those that are not aware of Lake Minnetonka and Excelsior, that is one of the hoity-toity, la-di-das areas of the Twin Cities. Like that, if you are on Lake Minnetonka, you have money and you are doing really, really well. And it does make me sad when I hear about that, because Verne Gagne was such an instrumental part of this state and the state's history. Like, everybody in the state of Minnesota knows about the Gagnes, and just at one point they were as big as anything. My understanding is they were as big as anything in this state in terms of entertainment, mainstream, anything.
They were, and Verne, good friends with Hubert Humphrey, good friends with mayors, with presidents. I mean, Verne was a big deal, legendary, and that eminent domain shit, really was. It was a mental downfall for Verne too. Between that and kind of the AWA collapsing around them, it was one hell of a time period for Verne. So, the Gagne estate on Lake Minnetonka.
They were absolutely devastated and got pennies on the dollar.
Uh,
Hey, looks like, what do we got here, Mick? We've got the convention hall.
You got the convention hall, which was adjacent to the old Minneapolis auditorium. They were renovating the auditorium, which had housed wrestling for years. So they moved the matches over occasionally to the convention hall, which was right next door. And the reason, you look at the names, and certainly we've talked about all these people over the years, the heyday of the AWA in the 1960s. I'm guessing this is probably 1965. But I want you to look where it says 3 more bouts, and look at the last name in that little list, Terry Funk Jr.
Wow.
I don't know who didn't do their homework. I know there was Dory Funk and Dory Funk Jr., but apparently there was a Terry Funk Jr. That we did not know about. And actually, in terms of AWA advertising and news,
I wonder if Terry knows about it either.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, or it may have been a hidden secret that Terry didn't want to get out.
Everybody wanted to be a Gagne or a Von Erich. I guess people want to be Funks.
Want to be Funks as well. But this one, and I started to say, in terms of wrestling journalism, there was not a wrestling ad, I don't think, ever that did not have at least one typo in it.
That's pretty on brand.
It was almost a prerequisite. You had to screw up something. Usually it's the spelling of a name, but apparently here there's some family lineage that we did not know about. Terry Funk Jr. And I would bet you they called up Wally, and Wally said, "Oh, and by the way, throw in there, Terry Funk Jr. is on the show." Funk Jr. No.
Chris, could you put that back up? There's 2 things that I noticed on there that I just like to comment about.
Sure.
So the first thing, as Chris gets it up, take a look at the date, Saturday, December 18th. So this would have been obviously well before the AWA Christmas night tradition. What are you guessing here, Mick? Was this about, what, 768?
Be earlier. This would have been about 65. The convention hall itself, I think their debut match was in 65. And because it's December 18th, one of 2 things, Joe, and I'm not positive which, either maybe they couldn't get at the building on Christmas night itself, or there was a Christmas show in St. Paul on Christmas night where they were doing a back-to-back. My guess is this was probably the Christmas show because they couldn't get the building, but I wouldn't swear to it. But you see those names, Verne Gagne, Igor, Hennigs, Race, Crusher, Chris Markov. The Russians were coming even back then. But great stuff. And and Larry Heinemi, of course, luscious Lars Anderson is on the show, but nobody took precedence over Terry Funk Jr.
Yeah, and you don't have to put it back up, Chris, but the other thing that I wanted to point out, at the very top, it says 5 matches. Indie shows have more matches nowadays, but the difference is the average time for each of these matches was probably 25 minutes per match.
You're absolutely right. 5 matches was more than enough. And typically what they would do, they would run 4 and then come back with the main event.
Yep.
And the formula worked for so many years, as you said. They weren't limiting. It wasn't crash. Get them in, get them out, and it was just great stuff.
Your comment about the 4 matches and then they take a break in the main event just brings me back to sitting, whether it's Minneapolis Auditorium or St. Paul Auditorium. All of the matches happen, and then they're going to do we're going to take a break for the intermission. The lights would come up, and people, you'd go do your thing. You sit there, and you just waited for the house lights to go down and those 5 vapor lights over the ring to appear, so that all you saw was the ring in this vastness of darkness, aside from either cigarette lighters or I don't even know if they had lights on the aisles back in those days. But just when those lights went down, and it's still my favorite look, you have those 5 vapor lights right over the ring, like the number 5 on a die. Just spectacular. You didn't need the big lighting grid. Oh, just loved it.
Well, that's what it is now. Like, you Google WWE and they say they're a production company. Nothing to do with wrestling. They've gone from wrestling to sports entertainment to production. Like, you're completely getting away from the essence of what it is that you're supposed to have.
Well, this is a whole topic for another day, because how passionate we all are about old school.
Yep.
Anyway, let's move ahead, Joseph.
Okay, what do we got next, Chris?
Take a look. All right, now this picture right here, you're talking about the estate in Lake Minnetonka. That's old Vernsky on top of one of his horses at Lake Minnetonka. I love this again, because here you're looking at probably the heavyweight champion of the world at that point, and he's living the life of Riley for him on his estate, on his ranch on Lake Minnetonka. Verne Gagne. A couple of things that this picture brings to mind. I remember Bobby Heenan doing an interview, and Joe, you may remember this as well. And Donna Gagne, Verne's daughter, who trained horses and showed horses at fairs and so forth, came on and did an interview at the AWA TV tapings, talking about her horses and everything else, and showing a picture of a prize horse that she had entered in a competition. And as Donna walks off, Bobby Heenan walks on. And he said, when you looked at that picture, of Donna and the horse, which one was the nag? You couldn't tell. You couldn't tell of the 2 nags in the picture. So Bobby had to even destroy that moment for the Gagne family. I don't think anybody knew that was coming. And the other thing about this is a little known fact. Right after this picture was taken, Verne Gagne actually said to this horse, it's horses like you that have cost me millions in hay over the years. Yeah, that's a fact.
Oh, God. That is a classic picture. This is a champ.
God, Verne, high in the saddle, man. That's great stuff. Donna Gagne, the 2 nags.
So I'll tie that back into Verne's property. We saw the house, but she also had like a farm in this corner. I mean, Verne had 50 acres.
I was gonna ask how much land do you think he had?
Massive.
It was a huge. I mean, if it was in today's dollars, Chris, just purely spitball guessing, probably, I don't know, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. I mean, it might even be more than that. Having that, think about having, let's just say it's 50 acres. How much do you think 50 acres of land on Lake Minnetonka would go for today?
Yeah.
Wow.
Chris,
Exactly.
That's not even real money.
Exactly.
When they would, how they take people on Hollywood star tours, when they would have, boat trips on Lake Minnetonka, excursions, the guy would say, that's Verne Gagne's house over there. I mean, this was really, really a big deal. So anyway, moving on.
Wow.
What's next?
I don't know. Who's producing this show? Who's
That's-
producing this show?
Can I get a picture? Now,
Is
First
this
of all-
the Japanese version of Cowboys and Indians?
isn't that something? Now, that's Wahoo, and I believe that's his first wife. I think what was Wahoo married twice, 3 times, Joe? I don't know. But can you imagine this picture coming out today in today's world? It wouldn't. And this was in a Japanese magazine. That is the original, I think, Mrs. McDaniel pointing the shotgun at Chief Wahoo McDaniel.
Well, now we know why they got divorced.
Yeah, exactly. Good reason. And you know what? She's going right for the. I mean, she's not going to miss. Wahoo was a big target anyway. But I looked at that picture. I thought, holy shit! Can you imagine trying to publish that picture today? Mr. and Mrs. Wahoo.
The photo reminds me of a story that I was told of by Greg Gagne. Greg, Ray, and Wahoo were going out hunting. And Greg saying, now, Ray, we're walking through, I believe they were going pheasant hunting. And they're walking through the field. Ray is behind them. And Greg says, now, Ray, wait to shoot. So Wahoo is walking ahead. Moments later, Ray just decides to pick up his gun and just shoot it. Whistles right by Wahoo's head, and Wahoo just spins around and looks at Ray. What the fuck are you doing, Ray? God damn it. This is not a ring. We're fucking here. And of course, what does Ray do? Just fucking has that guttural laugh. A grown man with a 10-year-old mentality.
And Wahoo took it out on Kurt Hennig years later by chopping Kurt in the chest as Kurt was sleeping on an airplane ride back from Las Vegas. He had to let that anger out someplace, so he broke Kurt's sternum, in the process.
Well, he got back at Ray later on because when they were roommates, when they were bookers at the AWA, I think I've shared this story, but they would go out and have a cocktail or 20. And when they got back to their place, whoever fell asleep first on some nights, I think it was a contest, they just piss on the one that fell asleep first. Boys will be boys, right?
Moving on to our next photograph. Oh, God.
I guess if you fall asleep, then I guess you're in trouble.
I love this picture for no other reason than that is the early Vachons.
Wow.
Look at the beards on Mad Dog and Butcher Vachon, kind of like those old Smith Brothers cough drops. And the dog has signed this picture. First of all, this is a classic old school 8x10 studio photo, no frills, no nothing, no AI. Mad Dog and Butcher Vachon. And I would say, looking at that picture, that's got to be, God, maybe 65 years ago or so, guys. But that's one of my favorite pictures of all time as far as post-wrestling pictures. The dog and the butcher. God bless them.
I've never seen that photo, and that is classic.
Isn't that great?
Mad Dog's still, he's pretty good shape.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Not the tallest guy in the world. We've said this before. Butcher was about 6'3", 6'4", about 300 pounds. The dog came in at about 5'8", maybe 230. But still, like you said, Joe, you don't mess with the dog.
Nope. Dynamite comes in small packages sometimes.
You know that all too well. Going ahead?
I give up.
Too late. Time's up. Great camaraderie shot.
Yeah, once we put up the next picture, like the window's closed.
Yeah, the window. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, no.
I don't know if we put this picture up before, but I love this. This is 3 guys that genuinely loved each other and had that camaraderie and that brotherhood of the business. To the left, that is Eddie Sharkey. To Eddie's left, or your right, middle there, that is Danny Hodge. And Danny Hodge and Eddie Sharkey went back and forth here in matches for the light heavyweight championship. Danny, one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, said, you wrestled Eddie Sharkey. It was a night off. Eddie was that good. And then the closest to us in that picture, ponytail and all, is the late Red Bastien. Talk about three of the nicest guys in the business. And again, this is at Cauliflower Alley. And Chris, got to get you out there, buddy. I mean, this is the camaraderie of the business, at least old school Cauliflower Alley.
Yeah, I'm all for making my way out there at some point, and just have to make it work with the schedules. And hey, I'm all for it. I would like to make it at least once. I mean, Waterloo has been kind of my focus, but I'm all for going out to Vegas to Cauliflower, at least once.
And again, Danny, I can't emphasize this enough. Those who don't know how smooth Eddie Sharkey was in the ring, if you get a compliment like that from Danny Hodge, you're over. And Eddie certainly was.
I have to say, Cauliflower Alley is on my bucket list. Can't do it this year because, again, of scheduling conflicts, but it's on my bucket list. I'm trying.
Yeah, I think that's probably something that we'll have to, you and I, Joe, we're both going to have to kind of schedule that out well in advance.
Yeah. Got to get you guys out there.
Yeah. Well, we'll start with Iowa, right, Mick?
Yeah.
Love this picture.
Oh. Who's that? Who's with Greg?
That would be Leilani Kai.
Ah.
And the reason I put that up, first of all, is we are going to get Leilani Kai on this program. We are. She wants to do it. But all of a sudden, she's retired from the business and she's doing more conventions and fan gatherings than she ever did before. One of the greatest lady wrestlers of all time in Leilani Kai. And Greg looks terrific in that picture. This was actually from Leilani's Facebook page, I believe. She recently got her kudos when they put her on the air on WWE television. It's about time. You talk about the greats in the business, both of them, Leilani Kai and Greg Gagne. Leilani looks terrific.
Do you remember where that pic was taken?
I do not. I'm guessing this might have been one of these fan fests down in the Carolinas or something. I'm not sure, but I know Greg has attended a few of those the last couple of years. So my guess is it would be there.
Okay. Yeah, great pic.
All righty.
Okay, what's up next, Stubbsy?
What are you asking him for? He's
only driving the bus.
He's driving the bus blindfolded. This is.
Hey, just because I'm in the left lane going 5 miles under the speed limit with my blinker on, I'm just being safe. Okay.
On your phone.
On my phone.
That's right.
Playing Monopoly, and I'm also looking at social media. Okay? I'm multitasking, you guys.
This photograph, that's a bumper sticker. And we had a
Boy, thanks for laying that out for us.
I
never knew that was a bumper sticker.
No, says the guy who shrugged his shoulders when we said what's next. But the I break is in my body's gonna break for Body Slams. This was interesting about Channel 23. I put out an SNR newsletter. I put out these bumper stickers, made a few bucks, not a lot of money. I'm not sure if the station didn't know if it went under the radar, but I just went out one week and promoted this stuff and, had them printed up someplace in town here. And there are a few of them that are still out there. People, no matter how hard they've tried, they desperately can't get them off the bumper of their 1986 whatever. I break for Body Slams, SNR, TV 23, one of those memorabilia scams that I unloaded on Channel 23 without their knowledge.
You still have one of those, Mick?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I put it on the ceiling. So when I'm in bed, I can remember when I meant something in this business. Go ahead.
No,
covering up the mirror on your ceiling or what?
Don't worry about the mirrors on my ceiling. Remember that great line Dick Jonkowski used with Darlene and Nick Bockwinkel?
Which one?
Yeah, that Nick Nick had strobe lights installed in their bedroom, so he could give the illusion that Darlene was moving.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yep.
Hey, fun
Oh,
fact about that bumper sticker. That was the real reason why I bought my first car, my 78 Chevette. It
to
was
put
on
that
there.
bumper sticker on it?
No, it was already on. That was the selling point. I mean, the bumper sticker was worth more than the car.
There's that floating thumbs up too. That's so there we go. There he is. There he is. You know, it's amazing what happens when Shupik passes gas, isn't it? I mean, it's just like you get the whole effect.
Hold on, we're coming up on the 4th of July. Let me be a patriot.
Del Wilts, ladies and
No,
gentlemen.
see, no.
Oh, okay. All right.
No,
I'm gonna
won't
remove.
do it.
I'm gonna remove Mick with the Del Wilts comment.
He's a trooper.
Yes, thank you. Yeah,
Ho!
yeah, it's not a
All right.
patriot.
Let's keep going. We've killed enough time. Let's get the next one up there. What do we got? Oh, this to me is classic. There's your buddy, Dr. X, Dick Byer. And that, of course, is Cauliflower Alley. The doc at this point, I don't know when this picture was taken. You know, he's certainly, you know, pushing 80 years old at that point. But, you know, when you look at this picture and then you think of the legendary Dr. X, a.k.a. the Destroyer, and you see him sitting there just like anybody's grandfather, you know, just the nicest guy in the world. And this was a rare moment at Cauliflower Alley where he actually took the mask off for a picture, because we've seen pictures of him playing cribbage and eating his banquet meal and everything else with the mask on. So, folks, this is kind of a collector's item to actually see the doc remove the mask. You know, Larry Hennigs pleadings with him, Dick, please take the mask off. It's over. So great stuff. And what a wonderful guy Dr. X was.
Yeah, I might be in the minority, but I love that he kept that gimmick up.
Absolutely. Oh God, yes.
Yeah, I mean, why the hell not? You're older, you're retired, you've spent a lifetime as Dr. X. Fuck it, let him have fun.
I was gonna say, and I'm sure at that point, like Larry said, the gimmick's up, it's over. You're kind of going against the grain by keeping it up, and kind of that's really kind of a wink on it, isn't it? Like, okay, yeah, everybody knows, but I'm still gonna keep the mask.
Oh, that was Dick Byer. I mean, that was Dick's personality, and he was just a fun-loving guy. It was so great walking into these banquets at Cauliflower Alley. You'd come in, you'd see the sea of people, Chris, maybe 500-600 people, and you'd have the Mexican luchadors at one end of the room, and Dick Byer. And what do you think stuck out? You know, you got 4 or 5 guys in masks sitting there at this highfalutin reunion banquet, and the only thing that actually superseded that was JBL. When JBL walks into a room, all you see is this floating cowboy hat.
Yes,
because the guy is so tall. But
I can.
Well,
So did how did he eat with the mask then? If he kept the mask, did he have to like go into a corner and like?
No, the mask fit great. He had his mouth open.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah, fork to mouth. He did quite well. I don't remember any spillage or any ketchup or mayonnaise on the mask at the end of the night. So he was very talented.
Well,
I figured there'd be some sort of a mess on the mask. Is kind of what I was asking.
I'd like to see him try and eat a plate of spaghetti with the mask on. He might have juiced a little bit around the mouthpiece.
Hey, very good wrestling reference. Okay, what's next?
What is Jesus? Not sure.
Don't
what
worry
that
about
is.
it. Don't worry.
Hold
about
on.
Oh. Now I want to tell you, this picture, I don't know how old Medusa is, Joe. I believe she's 60 or just turned 60.
I think she's we had the high school photo of her on. I think Medusa's about 62, 63.
Look, and that's a fairly recent picture of Medusa. Look at the shape that this woman is in.
She's done a really good job of just keeping herself fit. I mean, what she does with like monster trucks, you have to be fit to do that. Like you can't be a schmuck like us and expect to be successful in that.
Perfectly stated. And you see the glamour pictures of Medusa all the time, but boy, this is talk about getting in shape and being committed not only to being in condition, but the Medusa character lives on in wrestling, and she is such a wonderful ambassador for this business. Look at that bicep. My God, Chris, that's like the size of one of your ankles. I mean, that is
Now, I have to correct you. It's not an ankle. It's a cankle.
Yeah.
whatever it is. But Deuce, we love you, and why you don't want to mess around with the Deuce either at this point in time. Look at that.
And you got to remember the spelling of her name, which is correct there for the most part that Chris had, but it's Medusa, or as she likes to tell people, Mad USA.
There you go. Perfect. Love you, Deuce. All righty.
In Iowa?
I believe so.
Good. I haven't seen her for a few years.
Yeah, I believe she's going to be there.
Okay, what's up there next, Mr. Mick Mark?
What do we got? Oh, another great camaraderie shot. And again, this is Cauliflower Alley. Mr. Bockwinkel there to the right in his customary Hawaiian shirt. In the middle, that is B. Brian Blair, the one guy who did not work for the AWA. And then to your left, everybody, that is Ace, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., the legendary family. Of course, the father of Randy Orton. And I don't think, Chris, I know you and Joe are probably going to ask the question, where's the cast? I think the cast on his arm is hidden behind Brian Blair, because, that was a serious injury going all the way back to 1985, where, the Ace had to maintain that cast for all those years.
Who took longer to heal, Bob Orton or Adnan?
Iron Mike Sharp. Between the three of them, I think they set lad speed records for wearing casts. But yeah, you don't see Cowboy Bob's arm there, and I'm guessing he's probably struggling a little bit trying to get at Brian Blair's wallet, and the cast is making it a little bit difficult to do so. But
I mean, I saw him a couple of years ago, and he still had the cast on.
Isn't that something?
It was still there.
Very, very slow healing, and you got to give the guy credit for even smiling under such adversity. And Nick, my God, I don't know what year this picture was taken, maybe 2013, 14, a couple of years before we lost Nick. So, again, the camaraderie of Cauliflower Alley. Old school.
By the way, Bob hated wearing that cast. Literally had to put a new cast on every day.
You got to protect that serious injury, Joe. You got to toughen up. You got to bite the bullet.
I mean, he should have just drank some more milk. I mean, calcium helps.
The reason that this photograph is so special to me, and I think I put this one up before, that's the last one. That is the last picture of Nick and I that was ever taken of the probably hundreds over the years. It's 2015, April of 2015 at Cauliflower Alley Club. And, I'm not going to belabor it. I've told the story before. I asked Nick to put me over one more time for a picture. And first he said no, but then finally acquiesced. And both of us look a little teary-eyed in that picture. And that is because both of us were teary-eyed. Nick, I think, knew better than I did that it might be the last photograph. But talk about treasures in my collection right there. And I got pictures of Nick and I going back to 1971, and I got this one from 2015. So there you go.
And you said that Nick, he kind of knew that this was going to be the last picture you guys were going to take?
I kind of,
I mean, I don't want to belabor. I'm just kind of asking, more context to the story.
I don't know if he knew the end was 6 months away. But certainly he and Darlene, his wife, knew because they had announced this is going to be Nick's last appearance at Cauliflower Alley. So they knew that somehow or other his mental faculties were not going to be there in 2016. But I don't think that they knew 6 months down the road Mick was going to be gone already.
No, didn't Mick passed away? Wasn't it in November?
November of 2015.
So it wouldn't have been 6 months if Cauliflower Alley is in August.
No, but back then, Joe, it was in April.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
they changed it not to the liking of a lot of people who go to Vegas in August when it's 150 freaking degrees.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was April, I believe April 14th, 15th of 2015. Okay. So literally, a number of months.
Just sad. Just sad. Miss him so much.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What do we got next there, Mr. T?
Mr. T?
Mr. T. That's right.
Man, I pity.
I think he's the big K.
I pity the fool who's still watching this podcast.
And it is one fool. Chris, there's your buddy. Or I should say buddies. Hank Hennigs and Lenise. And this is a great picture. That, of course, is Deborah of WWE fame. And she had an opportunity, or the Hennigs had an opportunity to meet her at an MAW show. And Deborah was just, it's so amazing, like you said, Chris, how over the Hennigs are. Deborah was just like, oh, you're Kurt's son? You're Kurt's mom or wife? Yeah, just incredible.
I'm not surprised by it. I personally, because I've stated before, Kurt Hennig is in my top 5, if not top 3, all-time greatest performers. To have that type of legacy and then have the family show up, it's like meeting Prince William or Prince Harry after treasuring Lady Di. I mean, it's obviously that's very far-fetched, but you get the idea. They are wrestling royalty because of the legend and the career that Kurt Hennig and Larry provided for the family.
I know Joe gets such a kick out of this, Chris. You can vouch for this. When he gets an opportunity to meet somebody in the business, he's a little shy. He doesn't, approach him with, hey,
Hank, you mean?
Hank, brother. Yeah. I'm a Hank Hennig. He doesn't do that. No. But both Lenise and Hank are very, very kind of shy when it comes to this. Lenise and Deborah could be sisters. You look at that.
Yes, they could.
But great stuff, and love the Hennigs.
Well, go ahead, Joe, and then I'm
going to ask Mick. Do you know if are they coming down to Iowa?
Yes.
Nice.
Yep. They're making all the conventions these days.
Well, and that's good. And next time we have a Slick Mick pick. You remember the car that Hank and I were in at like 2:30 in the morning?
Do I? Yes.
Yeah, I will share that picture, and it will show you the friendship that I have with Hank Hennig. Just a really humble, down-to-earth kid. Lenise, I mean, you don't get 1 ounce of ego out of them. It is just, they are incredibly humble and just really nice people, really, really super cool people. And when people find out it's Hank Hennig, and you'll see this, Joe. Once people know that that's Hank, I mean, you will see fans will just flock to him. I mean, they will just bombard him. And I think secretly, I think he kind of likes it.
Oh, secretly. He's got that shit-eating grin on his face now.
Yeah. He's got that Hennig smile.
Yep.
I've seen what you described. I've seen that in action. He stays sort of behind in the shadows, and then he gets introduced, and then boom, fireworks. Did I get him? Come on.
Wait a minute, any?
Anyway, so Hank Hennig, no surprise that Kurt Hennig would name one of his children Hank, because he was a huge Hank Williams.
I didn't even realize that. That's
Kurt had Hank on all the time.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. No. Okay, so wait a minute. No. That doesn't make any sense.
Why?
that makes no sense for Kurt Hennig to be a Hank Williams fan, because he had a song that was released that called "Rap is Crap."
Oh, rap was crap.
I know.
What's
I
it got
was
to do with
I
Hank
was trying.
Williams?
I was trying to spin it around, but it didn't work. I was trying to spin it around on Joe, but it didn't work.
Hey, the West Texas Rednecks.
West Texas Rednecks were great.
There we go. All right. Oh, the reason I put this one up here is to tell the infamous story. That is, Chris, you've seen him, Len Denton, the grappler. This was at Maple Grove High School. This was being put on by John Nord. John promoted the show, and I'm interviewing the grappler there prior to the show. The grappler had the misfortune this particular evening of getting into the ring with Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake was actually a substitute for Kurt Hennig. Kurt had a back injury at the time and could not make the show. Let's just say that Jake was being Jake back then. And when he arrived at the arena, Jake was kind of already gone. He gets into the ring to wrestle the grappler, and I reminded grappler Len Denton of this, and he gets fired up when I talk about this. Fuck Jake. God damn it. Jake was so completely gone that he gave a DDT, which the grappler almost had to give to himself. Jake laid there, would not even put his arm over on grappler for the pin. Grappler literally had to lean over to Jake and move Jake's arm across his chest so Jake could pin him. That's how far out of it Jake was that particular evening. And again, Len Denton remembered it like it was yesterday.
The sad part about that, to me, the saddest part, you don't go into the ring without your full wits about you, not just for the sake of looking like an idiot in the ring, but you are literally putting the other person, the other wrestler, in danger.
Yes.
I'm glad that he missed the DDT, because you're fucked up and you try to put somebody in the DDT, and everybody listening here knows what the DDT is.
Mm-hmm.
You're risking somebody's life, literally breaking their neck. It's always pissed me off when somebody goes into the ring popped up on something. Just stupid.
Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just going to say, but I mean, it almost sounds like they would have been better off just like changing the finish and just with Jake laying there to have Len somehow cover him for the 1, 2, 3 and just get out of it there, instead of trying to just try to continue to do whatever the planned finish was, because that's very dangerous, like Joe was saying.
Chris,
very dangerous.
As I recall, I think that Jake got worse as the match went on. So maybe when he got into the ring, they talk over this finish and I'll be fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, it was disaster. And by the way, the expression on my face when we're cutting the promo here, this is your typical heel promo, because the grappler is coming in and he's insulting the state of Minnesota. He's talking about how great the state of Texas is, and he's insulting the Maple Grove High School athletic program. And,
don't piss off Maple Grove.
No,
not the Crimson, not the Crimson.
Nope. He went over the line there, and I had about it. But what a night! And Jake was in. Let me just say this. Jake took his money and ran that night, and I have a feeling I know where he ran to. But
so the one thing I will comment is fast forward to today, and with the help of DDP,
yep,
Jake Roberts has gotten off of the shit.
You're damn right that he has.
He was literally on the road to killing himself.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And he's recovered. He's does live appearances and is a human being now, not what he was. I'll leave it there.
There you go.
Yeah, good for Paige. Got a few more here coming up.
Well, and Jake for accepting
And
it.
yeah, absolutely. You're 100%, Joe. It's one thing to offer it, but it's another one to actually accept it and realize that you do need the help.
Yep.
Kind of like what Scott Hall did before he unfortunately passed.
Now, this picture, I know where this was taken, Mick. This was at the West St. Paul Armory for a Steel Domain Wrestling show, correct?
That is correct. And little known fact, Larry is warming up talking at this point. I believe he's got his mouth open, but he stalled for about 10 minutes before words actually came out. The story behind this one, I'm interviewing the high flyers, and they weren't wrestling. None of these guys were wrestling on the show. They were all making guest appearances, autograph signings for Steel Domain. So I'm interviewing the flyers, and Larry does a run-in or a walk-in, a saunter-in, as it might be with Larry Zbyszko. And he cuts the you see Jimmy on the end there. Jim's stifling that laugh because Larry's cutting a promo on the flyers. What's interesting about this, and I've told this before, I went up to Larry at the before the promo was going to take place, and I said, Larry, can we get you to come in and maybe just do an interrupt of the promo, give the flyers a little heat? And Larry's first response is, I'm here just to sign autographs. You tell the promoter if he wants me to go in there and do this, it's going to cost him. And he was serious. And he was like 10 feet away from the autograph table. And to get Larry to agree to cut the promo, you had to pay the guy more money. We're not asking you to go in the ring and take a bump, Larry. So yeah, very, very interesting.
Well, are you surprised that Z would do that? He was stalling.
He was stalling.
The thing about this photo and having Z and Greg in this same shot, by this point, they were ex-brother-in-laws.
I've got a question about that. Did Larry and Kathy finally legally get divorced? Because for a lot of years they were separated and they didn't want to pay the money,
I don't have the answer to that, but short of having that final piece of paper, they were ex-brother-in-laws.
There you go. Yep. Got it. All right.
What's next there, Eminem?
The real Slim Shady, please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. I'm Slim Shady. It's I'm the real Shady. Yo, you Slim Shady.
Oh, boy.
Careful. YouTube will put a copyright infringement on us.
That's probably, that is correct. That is correct.
I believe that this is, I love this.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to say this probably goes back to either the 80s, and that is Roddy Piper on the right, and whoever the Santa Claus guy is on the left. And Roddy is visiting a cancer unit at a children's hospital. And look at the expression on the patient's face. Look at Roddy just loving this. This goes to the real personality of Roddy Piper. He was one hell of a guy, but honest to God, this encapsulates hero worship and, just the heart of the guys in the business. Love this picture.
And I agree with you. I mean, it does show Roddy Piper, but I just got a comment about that Santa. That's a pretty rough looking Santa Claus.
It actually is. Does he have his gimmick on correctly? I'm not even sure if
I don't know, but it looks like Dan Aykroyd from the Trading Places movie when he was drunk and dressed up as Santa Claus, all disheveled and shit. The only thing missing is a piece of salmon that he's trying to eat.
See, that would be Polish Joe stumbling out of the Croatian Hall on Christmas Eve.
Where is that place?
I don't know. I've never been there to quote you.
All rumors.
Yeah, this Santa Claus looks. I think they probably grabbed a guy off the street and said, "Hey, pal, put this hat and wig on, and we'll give you $20." But Roddy Piper
That's
and
cool.
that patient. What a wonderful, wonderful picture that is.
Nice to see the boys giving back
Yep.
in the right way.
How many more we got, Tubbsy?
We got a couple more here.
Okay. There he is. Joe, you recognize that guy, of course?
No,
That would be our buddy Sweet Stan Lane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that is a recent picture of Stan. I believe Stan just celebrated his 70th birthday not that long ago. The long blonde locks are gone, but talk about a guy who's living the good life. He looks to be in tremendous condition.
yeah.
I mean, my God, this guy is just phenomenal. And what a great guy. I had an opportunity to work alongside him doing some TV in Louisiana. But Stan Lane, what a great picture. Last year saw Randy Rose of the original Midnight Express out at Cauliflower, and now here's Sweet Stan Lane. And again, he looks terrific. Boy, there's a guy who lived the life.
I keep forgetting, the original Midnight Express, all the stuff. To me, he's the fabulous one.
Absolutely.
It just, that's where I first saw him. Because again, keep in mind, back in the early 80s, cable TV was barely even a thing. You didn't know the other territories or the other shows, the other wrestling shows that were out there. So they came in, knew they were from the Nashville area. They came from Jarrett's territory. But yeah, Stan Lane and Steve Kern, to me, will always be the Fabs.
And we, of course,
I
had
got two more here, guys.
Oh, go ahead, Chris. Let's put them up there.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say we got two more. Yeah, Steve Kern, great interview too. I think we had a two-parter, if I'm not mistaken, with him.
Yeah, and great guy. You don't have to tell Steve to talk. Once that microphone turns on, he's good to go. This picture, historical in its nature, and you know why? Because right there, Verne Gagne on the left and Pat O'Connor on the right. No, O'Connor was not the first AWA champion. This was the storyline that was created in order to create the AWA, ladies and gentlemen, back in 1960. Pat was the NWA recognized world champion. We have beat this into the ground. The storyline was he was given 90 days to defend the championship against Verne, and if he did not, then this group of promoters would proclaim Verne Gagne to be the very first champion of the new AWA. Verne Gagne was the first champion of the AWA. So I'm guessing by the head of hair Verne has, this might even be a mid to late 1950s photograph.
Wow. The fact that people still think Pat O'Connor was the first AWA champion, despite any and every authority, historian, fan from that time know the truth. It just is a testament that kayfabe was not only alive, but it was very strong back at that time.
And Verne and Pat O'Connor had wrestled several times before that in the 1950s. But that's history right there, folks. That's literally the changing of the guard in the wrestling business.
Wow. What's next there, Mr. Mathers?
Is this the last one?
Mr. Mathers, am I like the Beeve?
Oh, no, but what's Eminem's real name?
Marshall Mathers.
Thank you.
Now, there you go. The story behind this photograph, that's Sean Skinner, our buddy Sean Skinner on the left. Now, you guys know me. I'm normally a very mild guy, very easy to approach. But when a guy like Sean Skinner comes up to me and he says, I hear there's some talk about an AWA podcast coming on, that did it. That absolutely did it. I lost it. And shortly after this, Sean Skinner was hauled away, I believe in an ambulance or a 57 Chevy station wagon. I forget which. But nobody insults the podcast, especially when Chris hadn't even mentioned it to me yet. You know, I mean, this is going back this many years.
Yeah, tough to mention it when that was 20 some years ago.
I was thinking about it though. See, that's the thing. I was thinking about it. So
You
telepathic.
had the vision.
I had the vision. Chris put it all together, and the nerve of this Sean Skinner, this SOB, to come out and suggest that it would be a bad idea. I don't care if he knew well in advance and was clairvoyant and he was right. You don't say it.
He knew it was a bad idea.
He
was
was
like,
just
yeah,
like-
he was right.
You know, it's kind of like insider trading. He was giving me a tip, and you know, I just blew sky high here. And look at that.
He was channeling Nostradamus, looking into the future, and you know what? He was right. This is a bad podcast.
It really is. And by the way, lifting my arm for that the fist there, I was blown up already. So the kind
I
of
bet
shape
you had to stretch for that, didn't you?
Oh my God, we love Sean Skinner.
Sean's,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
Sean's a good dude. He's now a producer over at Fox 9 at here in the cities, and yeah, for those that are also maybe kind of interested in more, keep an eye out, because we've got SummerSlam coming up in a little over a year in the Twin Cities, and let's just say that there's things happening, if you will. So there we go.
There it is.
Mick Karch is going to tag team with somebody.
Nobody wants to team with me.
Also, there'll be a singles match.
That's exactly right.
I'd say I'd say a handicap match, but I mean that's
Well, that's an
Hey,
automatic.
hey, you don't need to take a shot at me. I'm an older guy, but you don't have to toss handicapped in there. Oh, I see what you're.
yes, yeah. Well, what do you want me to say? It's a 3-way? It's a 4-way? It's a 5? I mean, what kind of match you
Hadn't
want?
been a 3-way in this guy's life in 35 years, pal. Let me tell you.
I want a table, ladders, and chairs match in a cage.
I want to see you and Barry Darso attached by a length of strap, and just let Barry have at it. I mean, seriously, it just
So a Polish strap match?
a Polish strap. That's.
Well, I understand Barry is going to be in Iowa, so we shall. There might be another match added to that annual card that they put.
Oh,
I
I'm so disappointed I'm not going to be there. Please, people, get that on video. Get Joe and Barry on video. Please, I'm begging you. I will text Barry and I will be like, please.
Joe, I give you my word. I will not instigate. I will not poke the bear. I will not say, Barry, this is what he said tonight on the way over to this building. I won't do any of that, Joe.
Well, then why the fuck are you even going? Feed the beast, Mick. Feed the beast. I'm ready to make my debut at 60 years old.
Your debut and your retirement match all in the same night.
I've always wanted to be a jobber, and this is the perfect opportunity for me to just get squashed.
New meaning to the word squash. You'll be like a fucking bug on a windshield, pal.
Let's get some shout outs and get the hell out of here, guys.
That sounds like a great idea.
Love it.
My buddy Buddha, Jamie Rodriguez, our good friend, who's working on some stuff for us for the fall. He is hard at work trying to put something together for a little get together. Jamie, wrestler, fan, friend, longtime AWA fan, and Jamie, we love you, bud.
And my shout out goes to a loyal AWA Unleashed listener, a longtime friend, and a longtime wrestling fan. She's going through some medical issues at the moment, so I wanted to give a shout out to our mutual friend, Jen Fritz.
Yep.
Oh, and then I was going to give one to Travis Bird. He's a pinfall member, been a pinfall member for a long time, but I realized that I had not given him a shout out yet. And I'm like, I can't believe that. So Travis, I apologize, brother. Like, I should have done this a long time ago. But there you go, Travis.
Is that the infamous Travid Flip the Bird?
No.
Different guy I'm thinking of?
No.
Well, it should be. He should have the moniker of Flip the.
Chris, before we cut out here, I think you've got your ready-made gimmick after today's show.
Mm-hmm.
In case somebody asks you anything, where are my pictures? Why haven't you given me a shout out? Any of it. Do the Chris Tubbs shrug. Like when you couldn't find the pictures, I don't know who's next.
Hey, some people are huggers. I'm a shrugger.